I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Unless we're starting right now.
I can't figure mine out.
Hey, it's Matt. Woohoo!
I don't know what to do. It was working earlier when I had OBS open.
Yeah, it was working for me too, and then it just stopped. So I closed out of OBS, opened Discord, got my camera going. Now I'm gonna open OBS and see if that'll work.
Alright, I'll be right back.
I think everything's working now.
I'm sorry, you guys. I cannot figure out how to get my webcam to work without closing everything down and starting it back over again. But I might have a workaround. You won't be able to see me, but I will,
Yeah,
I'll
that's
put
fine.
my webcam over my little square so that at least the people watching can see me.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
that's fine.
Yeah? Okay, good. All right. Otherwise, welcome everybody.
If I can remember how to do it.
Hi, Brunkle. Missed you too. I've been playing DayZ lately, the last month and a half, so we're doing a RP 101 for beginners and stuff.
It's not working either. Wait a minute. Why? Okay.
With one of
I'm
the
gonna have to just close everything out.
official
I'm
members
really
of
sorry,
admin.
you guys.
Go for it.
We're having a little technical difficulties
I'll
at the
start the
moment
stream
with
right back up,
some things.
everybody.
Just make sure you have Discord open before you open OBS.
Okay.
As you can hear.
Load your camera.
I should probably be playing music. Thank you for the boop. I don't know if the boops work in this thing, but I saw it. I don't think alerts work on this screen, unfortunately, so. A little louder than them? Okay, well, I can turn that down. Is that better? How's this? Is this better? This should be interesting. Yes, would you like some ASMR, Bronco? How's Florida? Oh my god, she's here.
Second, Cat, I can do that.
You're good.
All right.
Woo!
Let's see here now. If
Should we
I
all do an
can,
intro?
like, pop out thing. All right.
Let's see here. Let's get some volume appropriate here. I don't know how loud everybody is.
Okay. I hope it's all working correctly now. It looks like it is on my OBS. The chat will have to let me know if they're seeing everything properly and hearing everything properly.
My camera's out of focus on my screen. I don't know if it is on yours.
It is a little bit blurry
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, it was fine a second ago, though.
Yeah, I think it's the lighting. I'll fix it.
Okay.
Oh my god, Matt, you're so out of focus.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna look at my
Oh, Jay.
channels here.
Subscribe so fast. You
I
already
restarted the
subscribed.
streams.
Well, I guess
there
you don't
should
have
be
to
new
do because you're a
streams
mod,
going
so.
on. Hopefully.
All right. Well, you are live on mine, so.
Mhm.
Okay, good. I should be
Yeah.
live on Twitch. I think it's YouTube that is taking a minute to start
YouTube
a new
usually
one.
does. Takes like a minute and a half.
It's not showing me live yet on there.
On YouTube or Twitch?
On YouTube, it's not showing me live yet. I like quit the stream and then restarted it right away. It's showing that I am streaming for a minute and a half now, but it hasn't registered yet. Let me refresh the page and see. It's still just saying connect streaming
yeah.
software to go live.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, I don't see you there yet for sure. On at least not on Twitch. Are you going on YouTube?
No.
Weird.
Yeah, YouTube's not live yet.
Is
And
Twitch?
My Twitch is broken
Twitch
still
is.
too. Twitch is
it?
okay. Twitch is working.
Okay, there we go. There you are. Yeah.
What am I drinking? I am drinking coffee.
Oops, I'm accidentally streaming myself a million times.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
Yeah, the
Echo. Twitch is working, just not YouTube.
Yep.
Of course, everything was working just fine. And
Yeah,
then I went to go do
naturally,
my
yeah,
makeup.
naturally.
How dare I?
I
How
know.
dare I
How
go do that?
dare
Now
you.
everything breaks. So
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what's going on there.
It's always the way it
Maybe I
goes.
should try with YouTube. Maybe I should just like give it a little bit longer between stopping it and starting
Is
it
it
back
better
up.
now?
If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and talk a little bit while I fix this. It's
Sure.
also like being really silly on the stream every time if I don't have you on my screen, it disappears on
Weird how it
OBS
does
too,
that.
So
Well, whatever.
Take your time.
I will fix it. I am smart. I know how to do things.
Actually, do we want to start with Matt here? We can start with Matt.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah,
We're
yeah.
good.
Hi, I'm Matt. Legit Pop, Glenn, Quinn, and Tanuk, the caveman. I've been playing on Doug for roughly 5 years, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, I started on Lug and had a really good interaction there, and I streamed it and thought it was fun. And then I, on a non-whitelist day, hopped over to Doug and ran into Dan my first day and recorded it and made a video, and then I never
Wow.
stopped playing on the server. Yeah,
Those damn people.
How long ago? When was that?
like
Yeah.
4.5 years ago, 4 years ago, somewhere around there.
Damn.
And I just continued playing because I had such a fun time. So I was like, and then I'd take breaks and stuff, but yeah. And then I became a mod and an admin this year. So
Yay.
yeah, I'm
Was that just this year?
Yeah, there was like a 2-month gap between me being a mod and an admin. It was very quick. I think it was just kind of out of necessity, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been great. It's been frustrating and fun. So yeah.
Andy or Kat? You guys want one of you guys? Andy, you want to go?
Hi, I'm Andy. Andromeda Starry. I started playing on Doug in 2016, I want to say. Somewhere around there. And I got into it because my roommate had been playing. And they were like, oh my god, you gotta go do this thing. Because I did D&D and stuff like that before. So they were like, you'll love it. It's story. It's blah, blah, blah. And then I went in, and my first interaction, after about 2 weeks of just like playing on my own and surviving, was actually the cult. It was the Cult of Papa, which was quite a shock because I was such a noob to DayZ, and I was like running around with a torch, and I had like the stupid helmet on, like the, construction helmet or whatever. I was dressed horribly, and I like was running around the cabin that I had taken as my home. And DayZ was way different back then than it is now, and then I saw a flare, and then there was just like people all around me, and I was like, holy shit, what do I do? And that video's out there somewhere.
Well, tell them what characters you play, silly.
Oh lord. Currently I'm playing Ember the Historian, because I wanted a reason to know all the lore that I already know. And so I'm like a lore master kind of character that kind of knows the history. I have played Andy Walker, who is dead. I have played Kaylee Fry, who is dead. I have played Mara. That was my first character way back in the day. Technically not dead, but she's old and off the map. I think those are the only ones those are my main ones. I've played little bits and bobs like here and there, but those are my main ones. Yep.
She's experienced.
I'm experienced.
Well, since you guys were all here before me, Kat, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll go last.
Okay, well, my name is Kat. A lot of people watching probably already know that. I'm currently playing Polly the Clown, and I've been on Doug since 2019, I want to say. I think it was the spring of 2019 that I joined and I whitelisted, and my very first character ever was a man named Dave.
I did not know that.
I didn't know how to play DayZ at all. I had played the mod like years back, but it was like coming into a brand new game for me. I couldn't remember how to do anything, and I didn't know I could customize my character ahead of time. So I spawned in as a man, and I was like, I'm gonna commit to the bit. I'm Dave now. And the very first people that I met, some of you may remember. I know most of you will. I met Audie. It was like the first person I ever met on the server was Audie. And the dugout were all on the coast, and they had a car, and they were like getting stuff to farm and things. And I was like, hi, I'm Dave. I don't know how to do anything because my dad never taught me. That was what I said. And they were just like, oh yeah, sure. They just completely didn't question it at all. And they were like, okay, Dave, you're coming into the dugout with us. And I was like, I'm gonna whitelist on this server for sure. And that was fun. And then I've only played one other character other than Polly, and her name was Kat, and she's dead now.
A psycho.
Absolute
psycho.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's just like what I like to do, is I like to play crazy people.
And you do it really well. And your storytelling is just, I mean, in written form too, is just magnificent. I mean, it's
thank
really
you.
good.
Hello, Dr. D-Sync. Thank you for the follow. Nice to see you. How are you?
Many pages of fanfic.
Go read it, guys. Really, it's worth it.
If you whitelist, you'll be able to read my fanfic.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yes.
gain access to our Reddit. So if you have interest in reading more lore and reading about characters' backstories and things like that, and there's also like other content forums. People post pictures, all kinds of stuff on there, and you can only see it if you're whitelisted. So
Yes. Join us.
Join us.
join us.
One of us.
Become
Yeah.
us.
One of
Doug,
us.
One of us. Yeah. Doug. I'm Jackie. I actually was not a role player when I started on Doug. I came in with a group that that eventually was banned actually at a later time, called the Mountain Men, and I was a PvPer only. I think my character's name was even Whack-a-Mole at the time.
Hello,
I mean,
Ballad.
I just PvP. That's what I
Never.
did.
Never. Never be one of
In the course of that time, I ended up joining the Islanders, and eventually I ran into Iris, who on one of her alts, I think Jane. I'm not completely sure. Kat, maybe you know that. And she tried to talk me into joining Darkest Midnight. So my first character was, and I was scared because I didn't want to role play. I thought role play was cringy. I didn't want anything to do with it. And Iris assured me that I didn't have to role play. I could just stand there and, be a wallflower or whatever I wanted to do. So I went over and I made my first character, and her name was Jezreel. In the course of that time of playing Jezreel, I met Kat, of course, and Charlie and Iris and almost every member of DAM at the time. Harvey, Dave, Chef, oh gosh, a multitude of others. But the biggest thing that was a changer for me was Andy up here was playing Kaylee at the time, and there was a big storyline that involved a baby and DAM, and I was supposed to just be a guard there. And I was just standing there, and Iris was streaming and had to go AFK. And this woman starts RPing with me, and I'm like, is this lady really going to try to RP with me right now? And I didn't know what to do, and I made a mess of things. I did.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
did
know.
fine.
Well, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing.
You should have given me a gun, is what you should have done, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, you got a shovel instead. But anyway, so Jezreel was my first character, whom I perma'd. She is dead now. And I currently play Mamie at the House of Hope, with the Coalition. Yeah, that's it.
Terrible group of people.
Terrible. Awful.
Just bad people.
Yes.
I want to mention that all of the people you see on the screen today also have Twitch channels. I would like to link to them and have anybody that's interested in seeing them play those characters. They do stream sometimes. I know Mamie is streaming quite often lately. And I'll make sure at some point during the stream to plug everybody for you guys so that you can go and check them out and follow them as well. And we did get a question while we were touching on whitelisting. Somebody asked if we would go over what whitelist requirements are. And I thought a perfect person for that might be our legit pop. But I don't know that there's really, I think it's just you have an application, they ask questions and you answer them. I don't know if there's really any other requirement.
Yeah, so ideally we want people that are going to integrate well with the community. Like there's a specific person that Doug is meant for, and it's not meant for everybody.
Thank you for following NC Calibre.
Cater to our core audience and
thank you for following 1995 Ford Transit.
Like making Doug better,
Ford Transit.
It. So we ask that if you are going to apply for whitelist, that you play on the server a little bit and kind of understand how things work, because it is different than most DayZ servers. But yeah, it's basically the only requirement is that you understand how Doug works. So you know the rules, you abide by them, you're not a jerk. You want to contribute more than just playing on the server. You want to contribute to the community, you want to improve it, you want to help people, you want to contribute both in and out of game. And like that's basically it. But we do deny people like that. Like I've only played a week on the server and it's fun and I want to be a part of it, but like they don't really get the ins and outs of Doug, like the nuances that we have on the server. And then we ask them to reapply when they've played a little bit more. We also deny for other reasons and things like that, behavior and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you have questions about that, just ask in the Discord. I'm sure a bunch of people will answer you, or just if you're new to the server, you have an Ask an Admin channel in the Discord that you can ask an admin or moderator.
They're very
Very
friendly.
good. I am
Um,
gonna go
yeah.
ahead and post the website into the chat really quick. You can find lots of good information there, as well as the rules that I have. The biggest rule, our first and foremost rule, don't be a jerk, is on the screen right now. But there are more to look over.
That
I
used
think
to be
that-
the only rule.
That used to be the only rule, yeah. I remember that. It's expanded a little bit. But I do still think that that's like the golden rule of the server is just don't be a jerk. And,
Yes.
I think you have a pretty good shot at becoming whitelisted if you just have a good understanding of the rules, because once you are following the rules, it's hard to mess up. And if you
Yep.
have everyone's best interests at heart, then your whitelist application should look pretty good, I would think.
Yeah, overall, the goal of the server is to have fun and tell a good story and have fun interactions and just enjoy yourself. So if you're doing that, I think you're good. Don't do things to like hurt or ruin other people's time. Like, you got to realize there's other people on the side of the computer. Like, you're not just playing a game where you can just screw with everybody. Like, you got to make sure that what you do is also fun for the person that you're doing it to or with.
Yep.
It does require a certain amount of trust to do that, but
Yeah.
most of the people
Yeah.
in the server that are community members are pretty trustworthy, I would say.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
I
Well,
think that
Caitlin?
trust is pretty a big deal here, because we're putting a lot of trust in all the people that are playing and all the people we're role playing with, and I think that's a good segue for talking about what organic roleplay means for Doug, what that means to each of us. I know that we have some guidance on the website about what it looks like and what we expect. I can read directly from the website if people would like, because I did make sure to get that. So they have on the website, it says organic roleplay means no rules that force play style. Every interaction and every threat is real. DayZ is a game that thrives off of the unknown danger and interactions between people. It keeps you on edge because you never know what to expect. When we founded Doug, we felt the traditional roleplay mindset was actually in conflict with the core elements that make DayZ exciting. In particular, rules like no kill on sight completely remove an important part of the game, which is unpredictable player interactions. By only encouraging our players to interact with one another and to create stories, we keep the sandbox element of DayZ fully intact, and there are no artificial rules that force you to interact in a certain way or even roleplay in the first place. And every encounter will be unpredictable. All friendly interactions are genuine, and stories are created naturally. I think that's a really good summarization, and
Yeah,
I like to emphasize roleplay's not required to play here.
Yeah, we
which
accept
keeps things interesting.
all play
Yes, it
styles.
sure
Yeah,
does.
so we want the danger. We want the spontaneous things to happen. Like, we don't want it to be, I hate to say it, because like other servers do this and they have like 34-page of rules, and I was looking at one the other day and it was overwhelming, like how much they need you to understand and know before you go into it. We want you to play DayZ the way DayZ was meant to be played. It was meant to be chaotic. It was meant to be ridiculous. You're meant to run into strange characters and people and go on adventures with people you've never met and survive and get killed and try again. Like, we want all of that. Yes, most of the community is interaction focused and roleplay focused, but you do not have to do that. You can just be a guy who tries to survive. You can just go farm somewhere. You can just travel around and stay to yourself and be a hermit in the woods. Like, you can do all of that.
I did that for the first 2
And
weeks.
that what's
I just was a
me
hermit.
too.
You did?
That's I stayed in Three Valleys for like 6 months almost. Like, interacting
Really?
very rarely. Yeah.
Well, this lady up here dragged me in kicking and screaming to roleplay. So
I did not. You did that. I didn't. I just.
but it was
Jesus.
all the
Don't
people that
blame
was
me.
around me. It was Kat, it was Iris, it was Charlie, it was all of the people that I ran into that watching them interact with other people. That kind of, I was not a role player. I'd never been involved in theater. I'd never been involved in D&D, anything of the sort. I was very shy, and I think that is what, Doug is what gave me my love for role play, and it has been a heck of a ride. I don't know what year it was, Andy. I don't know if you recall when
It was like
around when that was.
4
It
or
was about
5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. I have since taken breaks, and, I go back and forth. I do also a little bit of Red Dead role play, but primarily right now I'm in DayZ again with Mamie. But I really want to stress to people that you don't have to compare yourselves to anybody else. You don't have to worry that your interaction is going to falter if you run into one of us, for example, that you have to be afraid of us. Be yourself, do the best you can with your character, and don't worry about whether or not you get the voice right. Don't worry about all of that stuff. It's silly. Just enjoy the ride, because I'll tell you what, when there's a story behind what you do, you will never enjoy it more. Never.
Yes. I think the atmosphere of the organic roleplay on Doug, because I've been playing it for so long. I basically grew up on Doug, and when I after I switched, so a couple years ago, I went and I started playing Red Dead, and it was just so different because there were so many rules, and so it was kind of like a learning curve, and like it can be a tad more restrictive when you have a lot of those rules. And I wasn't used to it at the time either, because I was used to Doug, which was like, roleplay is what it is, and the KOS adds kind of to that realism of that apocalyptic fear feeling of like, I could get shot at any moment, I should probably be careful. Stuff like that. And it happens, you get shot and you go back to the coast and then you start over and whatever. Like, that's a part of everything. That is Doug. But the organic roleplay that comes out of that also, when you find someone who, in character you relate to, or you join a group, or whatever happens, you have an interaction with Dan where you get kidnapped for a while, like there's stuff that happens, and it's not scripted, it's not planned, like it just happens. And then you kind of make a story together out of it, which is the great thing about organic roleplay, is that cooperative aspect of it. So,
and that trust.
And that trust. So, yeah. And you also have to realize, like, that win mentality that can happen sometimes when things don't go the way that you maybe wanted them to. Like, you got to think about the other person who's role-playing with you, and, like, how the story could be good. Like, story is king, I always say. So, for me, at least. So I can roll with whatever happens. Good, bad, whatever. I will turn it into my character developing and things happening. So yeah, that's my spiel.
She knows how to keep it in character.
Yes,
she does.
Very much so.
She does.
Gotta keep it separated.
So at times.
I think that's probably the biggest thing about roleplay, is being able to separate what happens in the game and trying to just keep it and not take it outside and not take it personally. I think that was one of the hardest things for me when I started role-playing on Doug, is just try to let it ride and not take it personal and not get my actual cat feelings involved with my DayZ cat feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to keep emotions out of it sometimes, because
you're so invested.
Invested in the
Yeah.
story and the characters and the people you're playing with, and like one of them gets hurt or one of them doesn't get the moment that they deserved, or so like it's hard. Like sometimes it's really difficult. And I think you like saying like the win mentality that like you can get with playing DayZ, and like the gear fear and things like that. Like you have certain things on you don't want to lose, or you're in a fight and you know you should have won it and you didn't, and like then you're frustrated. Like, take a minute, breathe.
Yeah,
It's
take a
okay.
minute, take
It'll-
10 seconds,
It's gonna
count to
happen.
10.
Yeah, like don't
Walk
go-
away for a little
Nothing's
bit while
ever-
you're staring at your dead screen or whatever.
Yeah,
Just walk away
nothing's
for
ever
10
gonna
minutes,
go
come
the way
back.
you
is
want it
ever
to.
going to go the way you want it to. You
Nope.
can have the best laid plans. You can have, okay, this is kind of the arc for the story that I want. This is what I want my character to do. But I guarantee
Gotta let go of that in organic roleplay.
90% of the time, it is never going to go the way. But 90% of the time, it also turns out better for it.
Yeah, and no one's. I don't want to say no one because like some people are jerks, but no one's trying to make you angry. Like most of the people that you're interacting with are actually doing it because
Even
they
the
think it
bad
would be more
guys.
fun. Even the bad guys. Like a lot of people give like FL bad rep because they're jerks. They're jerks in game for a reason. That's their characters. They're not actually. I mean, some of them are. I'm just kidding.
Calling people out now? Oh, damn.
He's
Oh, no.
about to do it.
I'm just kidding, Joe. That one was for you. No, like they're doing it for the reaction, and they're doing it to play the character, and they're not doing it to actually personally attack you. They're dicks because it's more fun if not everyone's a good guy. Like,
Yeah.
they're
To have
not
that
personally attacking
conflict.
you. It's not a personal thing. Don't take it personally. Play the story out. Play it how you would as a character. If they're dicks and you're gonna be an asshole back, be an asshole back. Like that's
Yeah.
They want that interaction back and forth just as much as the good guy wants.
Consequences are a thing. But also know that if you fight back, that they're probably
Yeah,
gonna...
exactly. The thing is, you always have to realize that there's a line that you can cross, and I think that's the hardest thing, right now with Mamie is like you don't want your character to be shown as a weak character, but at the same time, if you buck up against a group like DAM or FL or the Blackthorns, there's always a consequence. And I'm always kind of the school that if I fire a shot, as much as sometimes I feel like I want to, but if I fire a shot, it's over, and so I try to kind of restrain at the same time. But finding that balance of keeping your character from seeming like a complete and utter wet noodle, it can be hard. It can be hard when you're playing a good guy anyway.
Although being a wet noodle is also valid if you really want to be a wet noodle. I did that.
Oh, yeah.
My first
Yeah,
character was pretty much a
absolutely,
wet noodle.
absolutely.
Yeah, my character I think has
Yes.
only killed like 12 people in 5 years on Doug. Like Matt has only ever, and I know the names of each person that I've
Mhm.
killed, and it was all in self-defense. I was never the aggressor. But on Glenn, my cop character, I killed like 3 people the other night because
Oh
I'm
my-
just a chaotic. The circumstances were right. It had to be done,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there's a weird balance between like just like doing the KOS thing for story, or because you're in a survival situation, you're on your if they see you or you're gonna get shot, like you're dead. So like if you want your character to survive, like sometimes you got to do it. But yeah, being the good guy is hard, and also
It's
being a
hard.
bad guy is very hard.
Yeah.
I think being a bad guy
in
is the
different
hardest.
ways.
Being a
yeah.
bad guy is definitely the hardest.
Yeah, it's a difficult like line to
Yeah.
toe,
Yes. It
Yeah,
is.
cat.
Yeah. But
I
Kat
think
seems
I think
like
it's
so.
being crazy
I do
is
like
hard
being
too.
a bad guy. It just, and I feel like I really like the RP that all of the like good people do. I don't want to lay blanket statement and say this person's a good person, this one's a bad person, because I think that
It's
a
all
lot
very
of us have
gray.
quite complex characters actually, and have complicated thoughts and character about what to do. And that's reality, really. People are not all just black or white. We're all shades of gray. And I just get drawn to hostile and psychopathic behavior because I find it freeing in my roleplay. I can just decide anything, really, on the fly. There's no morality really holding me back. So I tend to run around as characters where I go for more chaos than evil. I think that naturally some things will be seen as evil, of course, But I'm not going out there with like twirling my mustache, being like, I'm going to be evil. It's more just like,
Just
I might
whatever.
befriend a person and they'll think that I'm their friend. And they'll be like, wow, I'm surprised that this absolute psychopathic Kuru lady is being nice to me. And that's chaotic
Just
because they
wait.
totally expected me to just kill them or whatever. And then later on down the line, like poor Maybe, I
see you.
kidnap one of their good friends and take them all the way back to GM and torture them. And then she's like, well, what the heck? We were just talking and you were so nice to me. Like,
Yeah, no,
anything goes.
Polly is great. She's great. And then there again is that trust. You know, I knew I was taking a risk going to the gate, but I also knew that the people who were role playing behind that gate were role players. I knew that I could depend on them, and whatever they did is what I have to live with as a character. So my choices, you know, that I made, I was aware walking up to that gate I could get shot, but again, you know, thank God it actually worked out really well. I think I feel like you guys kind of got robbed, but you know, by that gas thing. But I mean, other than that, the interaction was tremendous, and it was. I mean, all of us standing there, and just everybody that was involved in that. I don't know. That's that trust thing, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you basically described having that trust in another person, that they have like a genuine out of character desire to do something cool with you. And so you bounce off each other with that trust. And you're like, okay, I'm going to throw you this.
Thank you for
because
the
I trust you're
follow,
going to do
kid.
something with it, something cool. And then you bounce it back to me. And it really is a game of trust, because especially when you're dealing with me in game.
No shit.
You're like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, I hope she does something cool with this, because I'm crazy. But I know that I have it up on the screen, having genuine OOC intentions and purpose for all your interactions or RP. I think keeping that in mind all the time, you can't really go wrong. Something cool is gonna happen. It's logging into Doug and being like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna make the best story out of it as I can.
And I can guarantee you that you run to
So-
any one of these people that are here now in game, and they will give you their very best. They will give you their very best
Wow.
every single time.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. Like that's it. It's just I want to play a game and forget my life for a little while and enjoy just being ridiculous on a DayZ server, and that's it. That's what it's all about.
yeah.
Yes, sir. I think going into talking about the trust and roleplay and stuff, I think that's also what gives a lot of tension to interactions too, is because the KOS is allowed. And so it's like you could be talking to someone and you could feel like you've known them and something could happen, and it's like in character. It's like, do I really trust this person 100%? And it adds flavor to everything, I feel like.
Especially those
And I
freshie
like
interactions where like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
you're coming up from the coast, you meet somebody else who you've never met before, who's also a freshie, and you're like, should I trust them?
Yeah, it's that fear.
It's that thing. It's like you might run for a little bit, but he could also like turn around and smack you if you give him too much help, you know. So it's like that apocalyptic feeling is very real in
the
Doug
grit,
as well.
the grit and the grind of what Doug is what makes it unique. Definitely.
Yeah, the hardcoreness definitely adds
Yeah,
to
it's harder
the
than
realism.
any other DayZ server I've ever been on. I mean, in terms of learning things, but we're all here to help.
It is possible though. People get off the coast every day.
Yes, they do. They do.
And some people don't.
Some people don't. Yeah, that's okay. You can stay on the coast. You can build on the coast. That's fine.
Some people set up a school and live down there like bedtime. You still can't get off.
I've been meaning to go down there. They sound very interesting.
One thing I do want to add, though, also, when it comes to trust, I mean, I know all of these people pretty well here out of character. But there are people I don't know out of character that I've had to learn to trust by example. And a good example of that would be Buttons from the Clowns, Mittens from the Clowns, the Fireflies. There's Poopy, especially Poopy from Damn. I've really, really had to kind of, I don't know that person, but I know that the role play that person has shown me in character so far has gained my trust. So it's hard sometimes because you don't know who's sitting on the other side. But if they're giving you something, I can guarantee you that if you give them back, they will keep giving. And sometimes, like I said, it's not going to go the way you want it to go. It certainly isn't going the way Mamie wanted it to go, but it is so much fun and it's so much more rewarding when you kind of let go a little bit. So just, keep your eyes out for people that just because you don't know them out of character doesn't mean that you can't trust them in role play. And it's a dance. It really is.
And even if you don't role
reminded
play,
me of the win mentality that Matt mentioned earlier. I feel like I have a loser mentality.
yeah.
I feel like I go through Doug with a loser mentality.
I think Mamie has
I'm
a
gonna let
loser
them have this
mentality,
win,
too.
like because I think my Discord about me is like natural nat ones build character.
They do.
I just if I gotta be the loser to make a good story, I'm more than happy to be the loser.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Yeah, actually, I think like a story has to have it doesn't have to have a winner and a loser, but it has to have someone in a weird predicament or like something that's
the power dynamic has to be up and down. Yeah, conflict, especially for an apocalyptic
there has
stories.
to be opposites. There has to be people that get the crap end of the stick. Like it has to happen. Like my like Matt character is literally like he just puts himself in the worst positions possible and then tries to get out.
I've noticed
like, that's
that.
my whole. That's the whole thing.
No idea what you're talking about at all, Matt. None.
But I find that like gameplay is so much harder and so much more fun. Because I'm like, how the hell am I gonna fix this?
Get out of this,
or survive this, or like, that's what's fun for me. Like some people don't like that. Some people like to be on the winning side of things all the time, or like have the upper hand all the time. I thrive and I enjoy.
Yes. We are big losers.
Being
being the underdog and like trying to figure it out. And like sometimes I don't, and that's okay. And it's frustrating sometimes, but like other times I'm like, holy shit, I made it.
Yeah,
that's the fun part.
I like that.
Hey, at the end of the day, even if a character dies, and I'll let Kat go more into that about perma and stuff because she had some things to say about that. But in the end, sometimes a character dying is a way to give other people more story. So if your death makes sense and it's going to create and generate story for other people, it's a win. It's not a loss. It's a win. Absolutely.
For sure.
It makes me think of while you guys were talking and Matt was talking about being the underdog. It makes me think of Andy on the run for.
Oh my god, I was on the run
time.
for like a while.
You played someone so vulnerable for so long, but you stuck it out. And I always think about that story. That's such a great story that you told doing that.
It sucked.
All alone. You lost everybody. And
I did. I lost literally everyone. It was really hard, that storyline, because... And the thing is, I, like, knew when I killed John that I knew, I was like, Volk is gonna be after me, fucking, these people are gonna... But I didn't realize, like, the whole fucking server would be fucking after me. I was just like, well, I guess I can't go anywhere. I was lucky enough to have the few friends that I did, that I was able to have, some moments of interaction. And I was determined as well because it was hard, but I was like, I need to get on in play so that I give people the opportunity to find her and, be a part of that.
I know. I think about that perseverance a lot. Like
she was the paragon of perseverance. That was her whole shtick. That was her thing. So I had to play it out. But and I think the end of that story was fucking so worth it. I was like more than happy with the end of that. And also Walter and John. Walter was the one that killed me ultimately. But oh my god, like I had so much. Like when I got caught by Dam for a little bit during that time period, and I was like, I'm dead. Like Walter's going to get me. Like somebody's gonna, and they were like, we're gonna sell you, and then they were gonna sell me to the cult, and I somehow got out of that interaction without dying, which was like the whole time I was captured, I was like, Andy was so depressed and just like, I can't, it doesn't matter, nothing matters, blah, blah, blah. And then the time came and they were about to shoot her and I literally just went, and I ran away and they were like, I thought you wanted to die. It was like this whole thing. And there was some clever trickery in the video that I put out at the time, but they actually did shoot me down. But then I immediately got messaged and was like, you don't have to perma for that if you really wanted to like live. And I'm glad I did, because yeah, Walter getting that kill at the end of the day, and that was also very something I didn't expect. The only person that ever caught me as Andy twice, caught me for Dam and caught me for Walter, was this guy named K9 who was a ranger. I don't know if he was like magic or so. I don't know. He was just a really good player. I don't know what his deal was, but he found me both times. And yeah, and that scene with Walter at the end was like, this is it. I knew it. I was like, as soon as I heard Walter was the one that had captured me, I was like, this is it. There was it.
Than a meaningful death.
It was very meaningful. But the other thing was that John and Walter, after I had died, immediately, like for the next week, was checking to make sure I was okay, because I'd played this character for a long fucking time. And John knew how it felt, because when he killed his character, to me, he felt the loss, and and you do get attached to these characters, and you do have that investment when you play them for so many years, and you're like, you were invested in their story, and then when it ends, it's like losing a friend. It's like this weird thing that happens. But
you think it's not gonna affect you that much. And I remember Andy warning me several times. Jezreel, I didn't feel so bad about it. I feel like Jezreel wasn't really a role. I wasn't really a role player so much at the time, and that was my first introduction to role play. So I didn't feel too bad. I felt like her end was good and appropriate. But I will say that the permas I have since done over the years that I've role played, it makes me think of Bonkertons and Gary a little bit. He's never permanent character, and it might come to that with him. And it makes me think of people like that, and just to be supportive of them, because I'm telling you, you think it's nothing, but when you lose that character, you lose all of your connections, you lose everything. Every person that is just out of the box, no longer in your scope of thinking, and you start all over from scratch again. So all of a sudden you're walking in with a new character, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know, for example, the Greenie and the Coalition anymore. I don't know Ember anymore. None of these connections that I would have would be there. And I think that's what gets to you. So it's something to think about and be ready for.
And also being used to playing a character for so long, you get used to their mindset, you get used to their mannerisms and their way of thinking. Mm-hmm. And to play somebody else and not have that history and that that development that you've had for however many years, it sucks. It really is like losing a friend, because you know that person so well. It's a weird thing, but yeah, I was very fortunate that the people that killed me were so genuinely nice and helped me. And the
character is very bittersweet for sure. It's I found it both sad but also relieving to perma. I
was glad I wasn't on the run anymore. I mean,
yeah,
there was that, but I don't know how Kat died.
I felt like
actually.
I was simultaneously ready but also not ready.
How
but
did
it just felt like time.
What was that? Can you tell us a little bit about
how did she die
with Kat?
Well, unfortunately, it was something I had been thinking about doing, but I had some real life circumstances that interrupted my story. Basically, I ended up moving overseas. I got pregnant. So I couldn't play. Yep. I couldn't play the way that I was playing. It kind of just abruptly interrupted what I was doing. I kept writing stories, and I came back a handful of times while I was living overseas, but I was on the other side of the world. Like, the time difference from everyone that I was playing with before was massive, and it just became really hard to keep the story going. And so what I ended up doing is I sat on it for a long time. I wrote some stories in the meantime, and then finally I kind of mourned my story and mourned my character, because it just didn't continue on the way I wanted it to, and it was a little bit out of my control. But I was like, I don't want to shelf this character for however long it takes for me to be able to get back to it. I think it just makes way more sense, and it's healthier for my group that I'm playing in. It's healthier for the server in general, and it's probably healthier for me, because I had huge FOMO. Oh my gosh, seeing all my friends continue on and I couldn't join, I was just like, there were times where I genuinely cried because my life had changed so much. So I reached out to someone that in character was like a mentor to my character. His name is Alter Doran, if anybody remembers him. He was the mentor character to my Dam character. He like watched her as a war boy and was there the whole time, and then he ended up rebooting the Forsaken Loyalists back then, bringing them all back, and he left Gorka. But I contacted him and I was like, hey, I can't really play, but I really want a perma and I want you to do it. Are you down? And I sent what I call my magnum opus. It's probably the best story that I wrote in my own opinion.
Oh, it was good.
It was like a 3-parter story of her, you know, finding him and getting into contact with him, and I really am proud of that story, and I was really happy that he agreed. But he kills her. He mercy kills her. She's sick with Kuru. I was role playing that I was actively dying. I was role playing I was dying with Kuru because I'm like, Kuru will eventually kill you.
Yeah.
So I was role playing that I couldn't hold my gun up anymore. And the times that I was able to get in and play, I was roaming the West where I knew everybody wanted me dead. I was just running around by myself, like, please, somebody find me and kill me. Like, somebody please capture me and do something. Nobody ever did. A black sheep saw me out west and just stood there and was kind of just shocked that they saw me. And I was like, I see you.
Oh my
and I talked to them and they just were like, if I don't move, maybe she won't see me. And I was like, I see you there.
You were scary. I'm sorry. Kat was scary, man. She was scary.
That's hilarious.
But I was practically begging for death at the end, and I just couldn't find anybody, so I just had to do it for the story. Yeah. I wanted to give it to somebody. I really did. I was like, somebody from the 506, somebody, anybody really. I was like, anybody that might have a grudge against her, I hope they find me. I kind of felt like you, Andy, running, but except I was just out in the open.
You were just like, someone find me.
I was like, here I am. Please come get me. And I just couldn't find anybody because of the time difference. Nobody was around when I was around.
Yeah.
You know what I loved also about Jezreel that I remember, one of the moments I remember specifically is Andy was the one who told me, you're on the run, so you need, make sure you're fair and available for people to chase. And I remember one day running around with a radio on, and I think Kat and Charlie were on the radio. And it was like one of the best experiences I ever had. I think you almost caught me at one time. I think I saw you and ditched, but you guys were so good on the radio. I mean, I can't even remember exactly what it was. I think it was a little bit of story time kind of type thing at one point, and then it was just a lot of egging each other on and being hunted and that sort of thing. But you guys were really good. And I do remember that.
Yeah.
Being on the run is fun. I'm just gonna say.
not in my experience. It's not.
I mean, it's exciting and scary, but like I was ready. I was just waiting.
I mean, apparently there were people who saw me that could have killed me, but missed the opportunity or something. And I was like, I had no idea. Like Toronto, who I didn't expect to be somebody who would try to kill me.
I expected to get caught by Dam, not by George. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. That's right. George was the one that caught you.
Yeah.
That
was clever how he did though. Like props to him for that.
I really thought it was Lou. I thought it was Volka because I didn't know them well enough, and he had that French accent down. The minute I knew it was wrong was when I looked over at the one who was trying to pretend to be Shadow, and it was Zerka. And I saw the blonde hair and I'm like, oh, fuck.
No.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. But it was, I expected it to be Dam, but it ended up being George. So
I was also, when Kaylee died, I don't remember what my thought process was right then, honestly, because like Iris captured me, like I was with Brock and I think Logan in the woods
Yeah.
somewhere near the
At
Globo, and
Overlook.
they let.
It was
It was an
Overlook.
Overlook.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they just like rolled up and like took her away. That kind of thing. So
Boy, we are waxing nostalgic here today, I'll tell you.
yeah. But I remember being in that room because I kind of had the feeling that the whole baby thing was. I don't remember how much I knew or didn't know at the time, but I knew that they wanted, like, I think they had mentioned or on the radio, or I don't remember what, that they were like, we're going to take your baby, something like that. So I knew after I had gotten captured and put in that room, I was like, this is probably a perma situation. If and the Black Sheep fought their hearts out. I heard them shooting outside. They did their very best to get her back, but damn was such a force at the time. Like, it was very difficult. And then when Iris had that emergency and sort of, had to time out for a second, and then you were there. And I was like, this is my escape.
Yeah.
If I could just get to her somehow and get out of this.
The video is hilarious too, because
It is
I really
hilarious.
didn't know what to do. I was like, is this bitch trying to role play with me?
Yeah.
don't.
But after, like, she shot me, and I was like, I think this is a perma-able situation. I felt like, I don't know. I was just like, yeah, this is it. It was a little different with Kaylee. It wasn't exactly like losing Andy, because Kaylee, I mean, yes, I was invested in her story and everything, but because I had a little experience with it previously, I was like, okay, this is a perma situation. I'm going to do the thing, and because they played it out so well, I was like, I'm just gonna give it to them, and they can just have the baby, and like, I didn't really want to play out being pregnant that long anyway, so I was like, this is fine. And it gave, conflict between the Black Sheep and Dam to kind of have, I think they had a little bit of a war for a bit, and then, eventually they sorted that out. But having Jez be the one that took the prize away was like, I was like, yes! She ran away with the baby.
There were some other people that were not very happy about that.
I know.
That was the rough one.
But I think that made the story better, honestly. I mean,
I didn't know what I was doing.
I believe
didn't
in
know what
my
I was
heart of
doing.
hearts that's why Iris gave you the baby. Because
she was something else. She was good.
she was great. She could see story coming a mile away, that woman.
She was a force, and she put a lot of time and thought into the stories that she created. Draven's execution was a total shock to me.
Oh my god, that shit.
I was standing there
It was
watching
a shock
it
to
happen.
him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They kept it from him.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Which is crazy
Imagine
in your
not
own group.
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
joke. We planned Draven's assassination for a very long time in character. We would go off alone and have talks about it, and we very slowly, like, we would approach other DAM members in private in character and be like, this is what's being plotted. Are you in or are you out? If you're out,
Guess what? You're
Don't do
dead.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, and it was really, really fun to do that.
I think at the time I
plotting
was
it.
still just a war boy, because I didn't know a thing about it. So when I was standing there, I was like, what the actual fuck just happened? I had no I was just stunned into silence, honestly, but I was very happy that I got to be there for it. That was quite a scene. That was quite a scene.
Draven was quite shocked as well.
Yeah, he was in the middle of eating dinner.
He
He
was
was
not
eating,
expecting it at all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was OOC eating dinner, and then he.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just
He's
so
like-
that we don't, run too long for Matt here and the rest
Silly
of the folks,
side
so
of
we can
things
get
for
in
follow.
and start our peeing cat. What else did we have on the agenda that you wrote there?
Well, that was basically the final topic. I wanted to talk about dying and just
Demonarch,
deciding to
thanks for the
perma, because you die a lot in DayZ.
Oh God, do you? Oh God, get used to dying. Get used to
you
dying and
die a
starting over.
lot, and we come up with all kinds of ways to talk about it without saying we died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, some
know a lot
people.
of people who are watched Gary die,
Yeah.
but he's not actually dead. And we come up. Sometimes it just kind of happens through roleplay where we figure out that people didn't die. But I sometimes do like to contact people out of character and just be like, "Hey, that didn't really go how we wanted it to go."
Yeah.
And I just want to know where you're at, so we're on the same page. And I encourage people to reach out to other people you're role playing with out of character occasionally and check in with them and be like, how are you liking what's going on?
Yeah.
How's that
How you
story
wanna
going
play
for
this?
you? I'm not asking for like tell me your whole plot, tell me your whole story that you're thinking of doing, but just touch base.
Yeah.
Are you
Just
good?
just like
I
the damn
especially do that
members.
because I'm torturing and maiming and doing all kinds
Oh,
of crazy
yeah.
stuff to people. So I like to touch base and just be like, "Are we good? Am I going too hard on you?" Like yeah.
Especially when it
I-
comes to like if you kill someone and just double checking if it's because it's up to every person if
they're
they
okay with
perma.
it, yeah.
I also think it's important to mention the hero complex. It would be very easy as a character who's playing a lawful good character to really want that. You
Oh,
feel
thanks for
that
the
itch to pull the
sub,
trigger.
Mark.
You feel that itch to be the hero. And sometimes being the hero doesn't look like what you think it looks like.
Yeah.
Nothing that we do, any of us, is scripted. Nothing. Everything that we do is simply playing off of each other. And always, as a good character, the challenge is like there was a situation last night where the Blackthorns came up to the House of Hope. No, that was one, but actually the biggest one I can remember is Dam came up and Poopy was there. And now, for those of you who know the story with Mamie right now, Poopy has caused a little bit of ruckus in Mamie's life, to say the least. I was standing behind him in character. There was 2 of them and about 7 of us. And I thought it was very hard, not at that moment in character, to fight that urge to want to just put a bullet in the back of his head, and sometimes you have to make those hard choices that you don't do things like that for the sake of story and for the sake of allowing things to carry on as much as you want to. It's really easy to want to save the day and be the hero, but honestly, at the end of the day, it can really fuck up a scene if you don't think about it. It can fuck up what other people have intended and planned. And bullets end role play. That's kind of the way I feel about it. Bullets immediately, once things degenerate to gunfire, any chance of any kind of dialogue is pretty slim. So I always think really hard about what my choices are in any given situation, and I would implore people to do the same always.
I mean, there are times for
better
bullets.
can come out of it.
For sure.
There is a time for bullets, most definitely, but you kind of know. I think you kind of feel it when it's time.
I think once you get into it and once you understand like what's going on, like most people on the server aren't just gonna go shoot up a place if it isn't for a story.
Yeah.
Like you may like the House of Hope may get shot up. Most of the people that are members of the community or longtime members of the community, if they're shooting it up, they want you to push back. They want you guys to be like, oh, we know it was Blackthorn, and we're gonna go down there and go try to have this. Figure out why the hell they did that, and then have the back and forth, because that's the fun part, is the back and forth. Not the. But like, I mean, you're gonna die. I've never permed, so I'm learning a lot from you guys.
You almost did. Everyone thought you did for a while.
I'm working. So there's only been 2 times where I almost.
I see your question for. I'll get you in a minute.
One time was the cult kidnapped me and stabbed me to death by accident. I could have permit then. It was I thought about it, but it was not intended that I died, so I continued, which that would have been a fine ending for my character. I would have taken that all day. And then the other time was when I needed a break from playing Matt because it was getting exhausting, and I was going through a lot of like OOC stuff and in-game stuff, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I didn't want to kill Matt, so I was like, I'll do a little take a little break and make people think I'm dead for a bit.
That's always an
That's
option
valid.
too. Always.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do have somebody that has a question here.
Yeah, I think this is a great time to just open up and take questions. I feel like we've touched on everything.
Four Cups has asked, as someone new to RP, I've found it difficult not to get involved in some of the existing stories unfolding around me. Do you have any advice for people such as myself with the content of existing plot lines? I will tell you this for me, and then I'll leave it open to the others. From my perspective, if I throw something at you, if I say something to you, if I in any way interact with you in a scene, that is an invitation to join the role play. So that, from my perspective, that is as far as advice on how to bleed into it naturally without seeming like you're inserting yourself. I'll leave that to these guys.
Well, he said, what did he ask? The context of exiting? Like if you don't want to be involved?
Play, he's found it difficult not to get involved in some of the existing stories unfolding. Do we have any advice for people
entering? Okay, entering.
Yeah.
Entering, yes. So, I guarantee most of the people who roleplay are, like, because it's a collaborative storytelling kind of medium, they want people to get involved most of the time. The way that you do that most of the time is if you're involved with the character, and I'm trying to think of an example of, like, getting involved sort of gradually and not just, like, jumping in and taking too big of a piece or something. I'm trying to think. Maybe you just have a conversation. If it's, like, a friend of yours in character or something and you hear something happening, I
got one. For example, Mamie needs escorts because she has to get somewhere safely. So I'll run around and I will say, hey, is there anybody here who can follow along with us? We need to get somewhere safely. There's your invitation right there. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Those are pretty good.
I think... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. Okay, go ahead.
I think if you're overhearing a conversation or if you're in an area where, like, an interaction is happening, there's two sides of it. So there is playing along with it, but you only know what your character knows. So don't, like, take it too far and take over the story, or try not. I always try not to personally, but I will take things that I overhear or interactions that I'm luckily enough to be in front of, and I'll play that in, like, how does this affect my character and how can I, like, add to it? Like, it's yes and. They do that in improv comedy, and it's always yes and. So, like, they're like, oh, we're gonna go do this. I'm like, okay, and I need to do this over here if you guys are okay with that, and I kind of drag them into my story, or, like, add to it. Don't take it over. Don't try to, like, insert yourself as, like, the main character if somebody else has got something going on, but feel free to, like, add your own little weird twist on it.
Yeah. And follow along if they have an open invite like that, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go do this thing. I need, anybody who wants to go.
Almost everything I do, and always has been, is to bring as many people into the fold as I possibly can into a story, because story is amazing. I just do it, and sometimes it's to my own detriment. Sometimes you invite people in that you probably shouldn't. Sometimes it gets my character into a lot of trouble, and that's all right. That's all right, because it's all about story. But it is knowing when to back down, and I tend to be this kind of charismatic, very vocal character, and sometimes I have to pull myself in a little bit, and I have friends that Andy primarily who kind of reminds me sometimes of those things, and I mean, we all get carried away, so you don't need to be afraid of that. But if you hear something,
the other thing you can do,
dialogues with people too.
That it's like if it's a friend of yours that you overhear something about, maybe go talk to the friend and be like, hey, I heard this thing, what's that about? And, like, maybe they entrust you with whatever secret is happening or whatever. Or if it's something you overhear that's, like, I don't know, a bad person that you want to, you hear something bad about a person. and maybe you don't have the whole context of what it is, but you like have that piece. Just like going and find if there's any names mentioned, if there's any of that, you go maybe poke around in those areas, those territories, meet some people, you know. It's just one of those things. You just gotta, you know, use your best judgment, but don't be scared.
Yeah.
Most 9 times out of 10,
Yeah, cat will
people
probably
love
kill
to
you,
be
but the
involved.
rest of
Yes.
us, I think.
Don't do
my
that.
approach to roleplay, because of just who I like to play, is I pretty much will force you to roleplay with me. So
Yeah.
you
I'm that way too.
question whether or not
We're all that way.
I'm talking
In a
to
different
you,
way.
you're role-playing with me.
Yeah, that's my
Amen.
thing. You might rob or kill or, you know, do torturous things to people. I'm like, because I'm a historian right now, I will literally go up to someone and be like, hey, what group are you in? How did you get into that group? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where did you... And I'll just like be asking all these questions. I'm like, you're role playing with me. I don't even care if you do or not. I'm going to ask you all these questions.
And then she'll use it all against you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll write it all down and have all of the things.
So I don't see any more questions in my stream. I don't know if you guys have
I do
any
have
more.
a couple of questions in mine. I basically agree with everything you guys said about joining into stories that are going on around you as a new person. I think if you're overhearing things, all of that, like, I think that's basically like most people know that they're talking in proximity.
Yeah. That's
and
the
that
thing.
You are hearing what they're saying. So
Baby does that all the time.
I think if it feels right for your character, if you have an idea of who your character is and what their motivations are, and it makes sense for you to pursue something like that you overheard, follow your heart. Follow your roleplay heart and go do
also,
it.
as an example of overhearing something that you probably shouldn't have, which actually made the basis for all, like, Andy's whole story started basically because she overheard the wrong fucking conversation. I hate to say this, but that's how it started. Like, I was loosely associated with what would be the Firekeepers, just as like a group. It was before they were Firekeepers. They were just kind of a group that kind of hung out together. And I, like, Tex had a conversation with somebody in, like, a barn, and I was, like, sneaking around with I just overheard things, and then the guy that he was talking to came out and was like, I hear someone, like, because I didn't know, again, I was sort of new to DayZ at the time, I didn't know about the rustling, you know, thing, and he comes around and he was gonna, like, shoot me right there and then, and Tex had to be like, she's gonna be one of the Firekeepers, she's gonna be one of the she's my responsibility, he saved my life and all that, and so I had to be a Firekeeper at that point, even though, at the time, Andy had a real problem with authority and did not want to be a part of that group, but she was kind of forced to because of that situation, and that started the whole arc of, you know, development and things. So
Don't
sometimes
be scared.
overhearing things.
Don't be scared. Overhearing is on purpose.
Overhearing
I talk
most of the
loudly
time is on
sometimes in
purpose.
character on purpose.
And even if it's
also,
not on purpose,
when it comes
sometimes
to
it's still
talking
good.
loudly, though, I will add that if you are in an area where there are a lot of people role playing, unless you are intentionally wanting someone to overhear what you're saying, try to think of your volume. I have a very difficult time with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Terrible
you
time.
forget, but
Yeah,
usually someone will gently or sternly remind you in game.
Yeah, for sure.
I always am aware of my proximity. So if you hear something from me, it's on purpose.
Yeah, I
And if you're
I-
yelling on accident, oops, roleplay it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that
Before I
too.
hear you.
Oh, yeah, that does happen too.
That does
happen. That does happen.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
So our next question that I have in the YouTube chat is, has there been a noticeable uptick in new people, and what are y'all's thoughts on new folks? I would say there has been a
There
really
has
noticeable
been.
uptick, and that's part of the reason why we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because we have noticed
Yeah.
a lot of new people coming in. We have been paying attention, that we're getting some attention. And
I mean, I think
I
it's
actually
partially
approached Andy and Jackie about this because they used to do this for Red Dead, and I was like, I think that's a really good idea. We should do that.
yeah.
So that is a part of the reason why we're here doing this today, is because we know there's a lot of new people.
Yes.
Yeah, the server has
It
been
upped-
very
when did it-
popular lately.
It upped
we-
the amount of people, I think. Was it
Yeah,
like
we
a
raised the
month or so
server
ago.
max pop to 90 recently
Yeah.
because we had so many people and the queues were so long. It's not up to like hardcore levels where it was like a 40-man queue for 18 hours.
Oh
a
my
day.
god, yeah.
But there's been a few days where it's been like 30, 40. We had up to
Mhm.
50 something people waiting in queue a couple weeks
My
ago. a few weeks
lord.
ago. The server hit number 30 on Battlemetrics of all the servers, which is the highest we've been in a long time. We used to be in like the single digits back in the day when Doug was very popular. We've had some big streamers playing lately. TRMZ was on a couple weeks ago. We have Barnby playing 3-4 times a week now. He loves the server, which was fantastic to see. I'm glad. It's really fun to witness someone experience Doug for the first time and actually like the process of not knowing what the hell you're doing and then slowly being like, oh, this is different. Like this, some things I'm a character here. Like people know me, they remember me. I'm telling a story with all these other people at the same time, and like him being a new player, obviously an experienced DayZ player, but never doing something like this has been really fun to watch.
Very.
It has been very fun.
I think a lot of people have been learning about Doug through him and his live streams, and I'm looking forward to what videos he makes from those because some of his stories have been absolutely ridiculous. And
shout out to the Barnby Army.
Yes,
I have quite a few of them watching right now. So
as far as what we think of new people, I love it. I've run into several. Eugene, I can think of. I don't know if Eugene.
Oh yes, Eugene.
I'll be right
Eugene
back.
was great.
He was hilarious.
And, we actually, I think that's one of the things. I was, I got kind of, I think KOS'd once, and I was kind of bummed about it because we were in the middle of some role play, and I was kind of bummed about it. And I wake up on the coast, and here's this little guy fishing, and it was like one of the best interactions. And in five minutes, my attitude just changed because of that one interaction with this new person, and they were new. And sometimes with new, you have to put up with. They'll walk up to me when I'm streaming and they'll say, "Yeah, I'm new to the server," and you just kind of giggle a little bit because you understand we don't mind. We're happy to help and teach, and that's what we're about.
Yeah. I've run into a few people who do that, and I'm just like, server? What do you mean, sir? I kind of give the hint that that's usually what role players do when they hear that stuff that's a little immersion breaking. It's just give it a little nudge that like, I'm a role player and I don't understand that because I'm in character right now, so if anyone says stuff like that, my usual go-to is like, are you a waiter? Are you a server? What? That's my usual thing. But depending on what you say, some people have some different responses to that, or they'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're weird. You're crazy. They're clearly hallucinating and going insane because they're talking about these things that don't exist. Like they think they're in a server. Stuff like that. So that's how you know if you come across somebody who starts being confused about why you're talking about these things, it's because they're usually a role player and they're in character. So watch out for that.
We're nerds. We're nerds. And I was showing everybody earlier, I have my Fonzie with posable thumbs to prove it.
Yeah, I know Matt's a nerd. I can see all that stuff over there in the background. I'm just I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just live in this brick prison. That's where I live.
I think what you were saying about like the immersion breaking language and stuff for new players. I have a question that asks any thoughts or advice for someone that's getting started building their confidence with role playing. I think part of that is just eliminating some of those words from your language. And,
I mean, it slips out every once in a while. Even Jackie does it sometimes too.
I still do it. Yeah.
Sometimes.
It does happen, but just kind of going in with that in mind when you're talking to people. You're not in a server, you're in Chernarus.
Yeah, you're in character.
How are you supposed to say it?
Chernarus. You can call it a country. I mean, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm new to this land. I just got here.
There you go.
All of these are acceptable explanations.
I just washed up on shore. I just, whatever. Yeah,
I washed up on shore. I was shipwrecked. Something like that. And kind of trying to start avoiding like I just started playing on this server and things like that. But nobody is gonna like.
No one's gonna like.
No one's gonna be angry. We know that there is a lot of new folks, and I feel like we were talking about this earlier before we started the stream. I mentioned I feel like Doug is a stepping stone place for people where it's like this is the place where they first dip their toes into role playing because it's been open for so long. And then with the new, like, attention and surging popularity. We have a lot of new folks that are really doing it for the first time, seeing it for the first time, even some of them. And that was, I know that Jackie relates. I think probably all of us, maybe. This was also the first video game that I roleplayed in the first server I ever made a character and played as a character before.
Same here.
It was the first online roleplay experience.
I always say
had
pub
had.
scrub, a 100% pub scrub.
I've gotten so bad with Doug where I'm the opposite of like saying server in game. I actually was speaking caveman to my wife and she got mad at me, and I started teaching my kid how to say caveman words.
Wow.
Oh,
So,
Lord.
Nice.
I haven't met your caveman yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't played him in a little bit, but he will be back.
Nice,
with
nice.
some friends. So
Nice. So
that's a fun character.
But yeah, don't be intimidated. Just go and
Don't
try
be
your best.
intimidated.
It's okay if you
We're all
slip
very
up with those
excited.
words.
We
Also
are very
ask-
We are very
Please.
gracious when it comes to that. We understand that not everyone is going to be a role player when they come in. Not everyone's going to know what to say or what to do.
Right.
We just kind of, if you come across someone and they start being confused about it, just know that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They're a role player and they're trying to kind of let you know.
And just to touch a little on something that's very dear to me, I'm a psychiatric nurse in real life. And I kind of play that on Mamie as well. A lot of what I have in real life, I've kind of flooded over to Mamie because I find it interesting and it makes it easier to be a little more immersive. So one of the things I want to mention is that I know that a lot of people who play have social anxieties and are very, very, worried about large crowds of people, being around large crowds of people. And there are plenty of
Very
little
bunker
pockets of
tunes.
us that you can pull aside at any time to get some role play experience. It doesn't have to involve being flooded and overwhelmed with the crowd. There's a place for everybody. And I think that role play is actually a really good way to exercise that social insecurities, the social insecurities that people have, and understand that, yes, I am a likable person. Yes, I am a person who can contribute and offer something to the people around me. And I think it's important to always remember that there is someone on the other side of that screen, and that whatever your interplay, whatever your interaction is with that person, remember that. Different people have different ways of communicating, and respect that as much as you can. Read cues as much as you can, as best as you can.
And I also would say most of the time, like 99% of the time, no one does anything to make you angry. They don't do anything in maliciousness. Like, even if they're a bad guy, like, they're trying to create story, like 99% of the time. So take it that way.
We'll have another RP 101 someday on bleed. I think that would be a really good topic to talk about. But
Keeping it separated.
yep, keeping it separate.
It is a skill.
Yeah, and
it's a
also
hard
feel
one.
free to ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, there's
I highly
in the
encourage
Discord,
anybody
or
to ask questions.
if you want it, like, you can DM me. My
Same
DMs
here.
are always open.
My
Feel
DMs
free
Don't
to be
DM
like,
me.
Hey, I want to do this thing. What do you think about it? Like, I'll give you an honest opinion. I'm no expert. Like, I just play the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be more than willing to talk with anyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are.
I think we're all pretty happy to help, and my DMs also are open.
Not
always.
o-
I think
no,
Andy's
don't
a little
DM me.
more- Yeah.
I have social anxiety. Don't DM me.
That's fair. So don't DM her. DM
You can meet me in game, and then if we make a good enough connection there, maybe you can DM me. But I'm pretty
Also,
sure
there's a lot
when
of
it comes
people
to
that
that.
DM me just to vent. Like, they get into a
Oh.
situation, and I have more than 10 people that will just message me and be like, I just need to get this off my chest, and they vent, and they're like, okay, I'm good now. Because they were put in a shitty situation, or somebody pissed them off OC, or like, and I'm like, all right, I'm here. If you need me, let me know. But other than that, like,
Feelings
So if
are
that
okay.
happens-
Feelings are
Feelings
okay.
are okay. And if you have someone that you trust that you want to drop a note in the pocket of, by all means, I think it's better to get it off your chest than to bring it out in game. And usually if you reach out to someone who's experienced, they can help you through it. I mean, it's rough. Sometimes, like Matt has said and Kat has said, all of us have said, investment. You're invested in a character, and it can really It can get to you sometimes, and it will. I promise you.
If you're
And
doing
you
it
just
right,
have
it will
to-
get to you.
Yeah. If you're, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just enjoy it and, vent and let it go. Let it go. Sometimes that's hard to do.
Don't hop in the Discord and vent publicly
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah.
No one's.
It's not.
Never
It's
done
not a
that.
good look.
Yeah,
Ever.
just don't do it. It's
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
No.
You may be
No.
frustrated. You may be like, hey, I'm a new player and I just keep getting killed and I don't want to deal. Like, DM me. Don't
Yeah.
put it publicly because I just
Oh, believe me, I've done it too. Don't worry, I've done it.
I personally have done it.
I think we all have.
Shout out to Dash. For
I have
doing
not.
it, for doing
And
my
probably
caveman
not,
character and me yelling at him, which was not a good look. But I was infuriated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shit happens.
It does. And as a streamer, I can say that knee-jerk reactions sometimes are not pleasant. I mean, sometimes you just get caught off guard by things, and it's hard, and you have to backstep boogie a little bit and kind of do cleanup. But feelings are real. So don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to DM those of us who have said our DMs are open. If you just want to vent, just be prepared to leave it there. And don't do it publicly. Don't make that mistake. God, don't.
Yeah. It may
I've done it.
seem
I've done
really
it.
it may seem really good in the moment. It's just never.
Yeah.
It's
No,
never a good choice.
No. But I don't have any more questions on my stream. I don't know about you guys. Any more, Kat?
A couple more.
All right, let's go.
I think
Let's go.
Go for it.
depending on how your timing is looking for everybody, we do have some more questions in the YouTube chat for me.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Vince.
Joe has an extremely easy one to answer. Who do you feel is the best role play on the server? Super easy to answer.
Who's the
Oh
best
my
role
God.
player on the server?
The
Is that
best role player.
Who,
on the
ha-
se- I
yeah,
don't.
who
Oh
do you
my
feel is
Jesus
the best
Christ.
RP on the server?
I think it
That
depends
would
on the
be
situation.
impossible to answer.
That's
I think. There's
impossible.
so many great.
There's
role
so many
players on
different
the
ways to
server.
role play. There's so many like.
Mhm.
Oh my God,
It
that would be.
depends on there's so many different categories. There's like
I know.
There's
Yeah.
really good bad people.
That's what the
there's really
Dougies are
good
for.
good people.
Yeah.
Go look at that.
Yeah, that's what the doggies are for, man.
I
I will name a
yeah.
few of the people that I appreciate. I can say Kat is one of them. Always have Matt, Andy, all the people you see on the screen. Poopy,
Greenie.
Sterling, Greenie, Ivy, Willow, Natasha. Gary. Oh, fuck. I love Gary.
Gary's ridiculous.
Gary
Gary
is
really
Gary.
deserves a shout out for
Yes,
sure.
he does. Yes,
David
Bonkertons,
Polis.
guys. Bonkertons.
Blackthorn
Yeah.
Gang, actually very
Blackthorn
good.
Gang. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys in like FL that I think have been really like just for me personally, like
Mhm.
they've done some really good role play where I've been like, holy shit, like how did they just pull that off? There's some people in Damn that I think are fantastic. Some of the Fireflies.
My favorite is the clowns. I love the clowns.
The clowns have been on
God
their
dang,
game
I love.
lately.
They have.
Me
They
too.
really
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, most of
Maybe
the
I'm a
time,
biased.
most of
Yeah.
the time, if a group has a place on the map, it is because they are good role players
They've
and
put
are
in the work to
contributing.
have
They put
that.
in the
They-
work
They
Yeah.
have.
to
Mm-hmm.
have that.
I think
I
So
like Poopy.
Waldorf,
I like Poopy. Poopy does good. Poopy does good. He does good at being a menace.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
I
he
haven't
can
met the
really- he
Golden
can really
Peppers, but
piss
I've
you
seen
off.
their stories and they seem
He really
amazing.
can, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Golden Peppers, I wanna meet them so bad.
Oh, the Golden Peppers.
The
yeah.
Golden Peppers are some of the best that I've
Yeah.
ever interacted
I've heard
with. They are
that. I've never
fantastic. They
met
are
them.
So good. It is. Cobb is one of the greatest. He uses the emotes like in conversation. And
Kiwi's the
it is
best.
amazing.
That's what it is.
Kiwi's fantastic.
Kiwi is the
Oh,
best.
Kiwi is good. Kiwi is good. Yeah,
Doesn't
Kiwi
even
is,
talk,
Is
and
the
they're the
most
best
verbal,
people.
non-verbal character I've ever met in DayZ. Honestly,
Vadim playing all his
Vadim.
different characters that he plays.
I
Like,
don't know.
he's-
I don't know who else he plays. Who else does he play?
The doctor that
The
looked at me
crazy
and
doctor.
gave me Kuru. Yeah, he plays that character.
Oh,
he played Vadim. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No. I've
Oh,
only.
God.
I think I've only met Vadim, but I haven't met the Golden Peppers either. But I have heard good things about them.
I'm trying to think.
Fantastic.
Goblin? I don't know.
Yeah, so it really is hard. Somebody
It's so
said here the
hard.
best ones are the ones where you can't tell if it's a real voice or not. I'm telling you, I have such an admiration for people who can voice act. I cannot. I can
Ryan's
change my
Russian accent is
accent
good.
100 times and everybody will still know it's me. There's nothing I can do about it.
You just have a
Kat
distinct
is-
voice. You can't help that.
Kat is good at it. Andy is
Yeah.
good at it. Matt, you're pretty good at it too, but I can still tell it's you.
Yeah, you can tell it's me. I'm from Massachusetts, so like the accent is like half New York, half Boston, and
Although at first it took me a minute for Glenn. It did take me a
Yeah,
minute for
yeah.
Glenn, but you don't have to be a voice actor to do this, guys.
No.
There are people who are very gifted at it. Don't be intimidated. Believe
been doing
me,
it for a while.
Believe me, a lot of people are not, and I'm a perfect example. I'm not a voice actor, so give it your best shot, right?
I like
No.
this question for you guys. Has role playing in Doug had any positive effects on your life in real life?
Absolutely.
Oh gosh.
You learn so much about yourself by playing out these characters that every character that you will play will have some part of you in it. It doesn't matter because you're playing what you know and you're experiencing like another life. It's like this whole thing. So you learn so much about yourself, about the world, about other people. It's a growing experience in so many aspects. It's like when Andy died, I had to deal with grief and loss, like stuff like that. You learn so much in so many ways. I
personally can tell you that it has literally absolutely changed everything for me. When I first started playing on Doug, I was newly diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's disease. I was immediately, retired. Well, medically sort of retired at the time because I was going through rehab and trying to figure out how to live with this new disease. And escapism for me, I think, from the reality of what was happening in my life was really important. So to be able to come into an environment where I could get away from what was happening. And I mean, we all do it. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of escapism. You just can't take it too far. And for a while I did. I absolutely did. I buried myself in role play because I needed to get away from the reality of what was happening in my life. I didn't imagine that my life would end up where it was. Instead, now I'm fine. I'm still kind of half medically retired. I work a little bit here and there, but and I do have my issues. So I made a choice this time around to give Mamie some of those problems, because for me it makes it easier to get into Mamie a little bit, and it kind of gives me a little bit of therapy. I don't know.
Yeah.
How it really
RP
does.
therapy is real.
It does. It is real. It is real, and it's a way for me to also cope with what's happening, but it's also a way for me to spread knowledge about the disease through role play, which I think is really cool too. So for me, role play has literally changed a lot for me. It really has.
And you can make a lot of real friends, which actually before I played DayZ, I didn't believe that people could have online friends. Like that was me, like however many fucking years, 10 years ago, however long it's been. And because I would see my roommate have all these people online he would talk to and be like, oh, they're my real friends. And I was like, yeah, right. Like you don't see them, whatever. But as my own journey has gone through, it's ups and downs and whatever, and finding friends like Jackie, who I consider one of my best friends at this point. It's you can
she came
have
to visit me in Sweden, man. She came all the way.
Well, that's because I'm crazy. That's but I have met real serious friends, and I've gone and visited them, and I've made these connections, and we're forever friends. Even those people that back in the day I visited and I roleplayed with 2 years, and I was like, I want to go visit, and they're like, you're fucking crazy, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Because the people are like stranger danger about people on the internet. But when you roleplay with someone for 2 years, like you feel like you kind of you know them. So I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but the friendships that I have made in roleplay are definitely completely lasting ones that I will have for the rest of my life probably. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like anyone that I've met.
Okay. I understand.
I'm 100% playing a character. I don't like anyone.
Yep.
Yeah, I've met some fantastic people, and you do create genuine, like, real relationships with people.
Mhm.
And even like I play games with people OOC, and that's like the Doug, being a member of the Doug community is kind of like a part of that, because we want everyone to kind of, you don't have to like everybody, you don't have to,
Yeah.
like, but we want you to get along and like understand that they are people, like it's not. And yeah, I think it's an emotional, weird experiment.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really strange.
You don't have to
I
like
have
everyone, but you do have to respect them. Like
I do
that's
have a good
yeah.
question for you guys from my stream in regards to this particular topic. Four had another question. How do you deal with wanting to get to know the people behind the characters, not just the characters they play?
so.
I would say for
There's
me,
boundaries.
There are.
there are boundaries,
Respect
but
boundaries.
I am notoriously boundaryless. I will say that now. I've been working on that. Yeah, don't roll your eyes at me. Don't roll your eyes at me.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I'm like an open book. If people DM me, I'm gonna give them a chance to come on in the door. Whether or not that person becomes a friend of mine or a closer friend of mine is very dependent on the conversations that we have, the interactions that we have, and we share outside of the game, and personality, honestly, and just reading the room, read the room. Sometimes there are people that just don't mesh, and
Yeah.
you're going to have to understand that. But speaking from a person who's very open, I usually am pretty open to talk to anybody, and I'm always open to new friendships. Not everybody is that way, though. And so you have to learn to kind of respect that and understand where that line is drawn. So that's my part. So I'll let you guys go.
I would say I don't typically DM people. Usually typically people DM me sometimes. I'm just really an in-game kind of person most of the time. Unless I feel like there's some like if I see something you that I'm like, I feel like I kind of might want to know this person, but even then I don't really, I might throw my usual first DM if I'm actually interested in getting to know the person is something like throw them a compliment, be like after an RP session, be like, hey, that was so amazing, that was so great, and I kind of start the conversation like that. I usually begin it with like in-game kind of context, and then depending on how they respond, if they're okay with it, like, hey, whatever happens after that is kind of like what it is. Jackie didn't have a choice when I became friends with her, though, so that was because she showed me right off the bat that she was an amazing person, so I was like, I'm not losing this person. But yeah, most of the time I do not DM people, but if people DM me, I'm usually, depending on how much time we spent in game, I'm usually pretty receptive to people. I have a lot of my DMing style is very one word sometimes, and that's not because I hate you or anything. It's just the way that I communicate.
Yeah. For to answer your question, and I did kind of in the chat here, but just for everybody else, For asked, as there are in real life, I've had some really cool interactions where I'd like to understand the thought process of why they chose to do that. I think in my opinion, now correct me others, here, but when it comes to me, if you had questions about something I did, absolutely. When it comes to the process of role play, absolutely. If you question something, feel free. If somebody doesn't want you to DM them, you can usually read that pretty clearly. If not, some of them have their DMs completely blocked, so you can't anyway. Or some people might just respond kind of like, you
find out in
tell.
Character,
You can tell. But when it comes to processes of role play and learning and understanding, I think most of us are pretty understanding with answering those kinds of questions.
Yeah.
I have a pretty important question to touch on. Raphael asks, is there any role playing that is not allowed? Like serial killers or a racist crazy person? I'd say absolutely don't be racist.
No racism.
Yeah.
No racism, sexism, bigotry.
That's typical,
that type of role play is not allowed. It is rule breaking.
Harassment.
And It is harassment. There is a line. There is
Mhm.
absolutely a line drawn when it comes to roleplay, and I believe that if you go to the website and you read the rules thoroughly, it does touch on that type of thing. It will be a rule break if you
Mhm.
go around roleplaying a racist person.
Yeah.
We have a no tolerance policy for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't get a
Mhm.
second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
that.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Don't do it,
It's not worth it.
because there's if you get that,
It's
it's done. You'll be
Yeah.
gone forever.
just
Don't do it.
yeah. That's not fun for anyone. So
No.
yeah, don't.
It's okay to be a badass asshole. You can be
You
all
could
you
be
want.
You can be
Yeah,
a
you could be
serial
a serial killer. For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But
we have plenty of them.
Yeah.
the motivations can't be bigoted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I scrolled back a little bit because we got lots of conversation in between questions. Senor Bungus, what character instills the most anxiety when you know they're close?
The cult.
The cult.
The cult.
Poopy!
Damn.
God damn poopy!
But
Well,
definitely.
that's for you.
Or maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the cult. Like,
Terrorized.
they have this weird...
The mystery, the order.
The mystery, the shadows. It's like you don't... It's like this weird... I experienced it the other day when they were on the radio. I was like, oh my god. Like, I just had this visceral reaction to their voices that I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna... Like, I gotta get out of here. Like, oh shit, they're close by. What am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what it is. It's just that the whole atmosphere of the cult is like... so terrifying, especially with what they've done in the past, sacrificing people. Like,
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah, they
so
are.
Sacrifice.
they have done some heinous things, and I can't
Toronto.
even describe here what some of the storylines that have happened have been.
Mhm.
They're NSFW. So,
Yeah.
But
but
it's always been mutual.
yes,
The people
always.
involved in it were always reached out to, and always like, are you okay with doing this and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not like they're doing it to
That's
actually
probably
hurt anybody.
right, and that's probably another good thing to touch on too. That if you do have something planned that is heinous and involves torture or anything like that, and I think that's in the rules too, right, Matt?
To
Something.
read it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reach out to the people involved always and make sure they're okay with it.
Yeah, never assume that
Mhm.
somebody's gonna be like a willing participant in your crazy shenanigans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if it's like in the moment, stuff happens, but like if you feel uncomfortable in any, like, we don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable on the server at all, ever. Like, if that ever happens, please feel free to reach out to staff, bring it up to me at any time. I will handle it. That we have, you shouldn't be on the server if you're out to make people feel. There is an uncomfortability that's okay, but then there's a line that you do not cross.
Yeah.
And if somebody tells you to stop, then you stop.
Yeah.
You don't go any further. And if you keep going, you will not be playing on the server anymore.
And that's not to say that maybe standing there saying, please don't shoot, means you don't have to, that you have to not shoot me. Of course you can shoot me if you want to. We're talking about that
Also
if it's
personal
a very clear communication that this isn't okay, and it usually is.
Yeah.
If it
Usually
usually is,
people will
you'll
break
know.
character. They'll go
Yeah.
over to you and be like, hey, like, this isn't
That's
okay.
what I was
Like, I'm
thinking. I
done
was
with
like-
this interaction.
Mhm.
And if you do not move on, you will be removed from the server. I promise you. It has happened before. I'm sure it'll happen again, sadly. But yeah, just be aware of like who you're interacting with, what you're doing. If you sense that someone's feeling uncomfortable, most people can sense that. Just kind of back off and move on. Yeah, just don't don't cross that line with people, and be respectful of everyone you meet on the server. We're all here to have fun.
Yeah.
We're not here to screw people over. I mean, like, some people are, but yeah. There's
What?
I'm not looking at you, Kat. But yeah, it's the rules are there. Please read them.
Mhm.
Take a look, read them, understand them. If you have questions, ask. Just don't be a dick.
Don't be a
Like,
jerk.
that's it.
It's the
just
golden
don't.
rule. Don't
Yeah.
be
Yes,
a
don't
jerk.
be a jerk.
I highly encourage like talking about uncomfortable situations when you're role playing. I want everybody to know that if you're experiencing an uncomfortable situation, absolutely break character. Be very clear that you don't like this, and most people you encounter will know like it's done and
Yeah, if
move
it's any
on.
member from the community, they will stop,
Mhm.
and I will make sure they stop, and the
Yes.
rest of the staff will too.
Yep.
Yes. And I don't really have any like server oriented or roleplay questions. It's more just fun questions now. If you want to take one last just fun question.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
Sure.
I saw somebody asked if you could join any one faction. Who are you joining? I'm already part of the faction that I wanted to join. I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
I'm part of the Dark Carnival. I'm playing a crazy clown lady.
Maybe-
But maybe in another life, I would really like to do a good guy because I haven't yet on Doug. I would be interested in doing something like the Coalition or the. I remember the Golden Peppers as they were before. I haven't interacted with them
The
since
good
they've been
Golden
back.
Peppers, yeah.
Yeah. But
I think you'd fit in well with them now.
I find them interesting. I've heard some stories of what they're like now, and it's still interesting. Those are a couple of places that I think I would want to try my hand at if I wasn't doing clowns. What about you guys?
I love the Coalition. I love being with Ember, with the Prometheus Archives. I'm where I want to be, but when this is over, I think if I'm I'd like the clowns. I think I'd love to.
That would be
try
very
a clown.
interesting to have you be
Yeah.
a clown. I'm sure you'd have a ton of fun being a chaotic something, but
Yeah, I would. I think I would.
just
I'd
go be a
really-
mango at the end of your life. Just
Yeah,
go over
there we
there
go.
and get,
Yeah.
it's fine.
That's me.
The groups I've been in previously, Firekeepers, Black Sheep, like they had their own thing going. I didn't always agree with them, and now I'm just kind of because I'm a historian, I have this thing where like I kind of have to be neutral in order to, find and tell the stories. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I was in the Coalition, but Ember has made a distinct decision to not be affiliated with any groups because it would impede the work that she is trying to do currently. Now, if other people join her and that becomes a group, that is what it is. But currently, she is just kind of, she's associated with the Coalition because they've helped her so much and they're friends of hers and she loves them. But she would never wear an armband for that. For that reason.
Yeah, and for me that's rough because technically, I'm Ember's sidekick. I'm there for her, but I'm also a part of the Coalition. But my goals and hers, I don't necessarily need to be neutral like she does. Let's see. Are there any story ideas you've had and would love to see other characters create?
So many.
Any story, literally any story. I'm game for anything, and I think most of us here are. I will lose every time for a good story, man. I'll give you my very best too, and I think that's always the important is to honor the scenes that you're in, to honor them. And yeah, go ahead.
That's the tarot reader one that you said we talked about. That would be a good
The
one.
what?
The tarot reader.
Oh yeah, yes, we've talked about tarot reader characters. That would be something.
be dope.
My Red M character is a Romanian. I don't want to say the word, but I use it all the time anyway. Romanian, a Roma, a traveler, a gypsy. I know some people don't prefer that word to be used, but she is a tarot reader, and I learned to read tarot for her. I would love to see somebody do that. Absolutely love to see someone do that.
There's a couple people that have done that for the Matt character and some other characters on the server. Maybe Matt will introduce you to them.
Ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
I'm trying to think of that I've had ideas for that I haven't done. I don't know. I'm currently working on the one I have, so I'm kind of focused on that.
Yeah.
I usually don't have an idea for the next thing until I'm done with the thing that I'm doing. I'm very one-tracked about that usually, so.
I did
I don't
want
know.
to create a group that just went around wearing suits and kept weapons hidden inside their, like they never wore backpacks.
So they're
or
all,
anything,
like,
and they
in there.
Yeah, like a
They're all,
50s
like,
gangster
slick.
mob.
Yeah.
Oh my
and like kind
God.
of talk
Good.
like that. Like
Yeah.
maybe like 3 to 5 people, small group, but they only roam the coast and they just and like they would never kill people on purpose, but they would
Oh.
shoot them in the leg and rob them.
The soup mafia.
There was-
yeah, I
Or-
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, and just like take all their gear from the newer players and give them a fun little
Mm.
hostile interaction, and then
That was the other thing that didn't quite come to fruition is the Valkyries thing that I started briefly, which was honestly just a way for like, it was an all-girl group, right? So I had collected all of the girls from, like, I had Iris, I had Jackie, I had Shadow, I had, it was just supposed to be this thing where like all the women would go together as a group and play and be weird with men.
we had
Like
we had
kill
a
men
lot of the
and
women
like
do that, yeah.
yeah, do that.
We
It
had
was like
girls' night
a
few times.
bandit
I was
Yeah.
girl group.
they put me in a dress multiple times and made me sing songs and dance and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just supposed to be like a thing that happened every once in a while to get all the ladies together and have a little girls' night, you know.
Yeah.
I do have a question. How do I join you all on the DayZ server? Matt?
Check out daisyunderground.com. The info's there. Join the Discord, should be in the top right of the website. Click that link, join the Discord, ask questions, read the rules.
If you want to,
Yeah.
put a whitelist application in.
Yeah, play on the server first.
Yeah.
I would
I
fully
did-
suggest to play on the server first.
hmm I had somebody ask about like where they could read lore. They don't have PC, so they can't actually play. That's another good place to just read about people and stuff that's happened on the server is on the website. And I believe there is also a Doug wiki where you can
Yes.
read about groups and notable characters and things like that. Is there a link to the wiki on the website? I'm not
Yeah,
certain.
I
On
don't
the
think it's on the
Reddit there is?
website
It's
yet.
on, it's
I
on the
will-
Reddit. That's on
yeah,
the Reddit.
if you it's open to the public. The one that Joe made recently is open to the public now. I will put that I will get a link on the website this week.
Good.
But if you join the Discord and you do !wiki, it will bring you to the link, and then you can go through there if you are not a whitelisted member.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll-
Pop into the Discord
I'll throw
also.
the link. I'll throw the link.
As a historian, I will tell you, there's a lot to
Yeah,
You
read.
got the Discord link? Yeah, please. Because I don't think my guy can hear you for some reason, Matt. I don't know why he can't. But
I'm just very cool. I lost my voice. I was in Nashville all week for a work conference, and I partied a little bit too hard, and my voice is starting
Oh
to go.
Lord.
no, you sound fine to me.
Yeah, you
I'm not
sound fine
sure
to
why
me.
he can't hear you, but if we can just get a Discord link to the. For some reason, my Stream Elements is not wanting to put the links up for me for my mods. I don't know what the deal is there.
Do you have links?
Oh, geez, dang it. Sorry. Can you? Oh boy. How do I? Star, can you free him up so his link can be seen there?
Oh Lord, I need to do that too.
All right, I have a link to the wiki that I can post in my chats here for those that would like to check out the wiki. And I have to get going. It's been almost 2 hours
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
we started.
Yeah, people
I
wanna
want to
roleplay.
take this
Wrap it up.
one last question I pinned to my Twitch chat. It's from Hot and Soupy. It's actually a few questions in one post, but I think that'll be the last one that we take if that's all right with you guys.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
fine.
Can you post that again, Matt, in my chat real quick? We did hyperlink. Sorry, Kat.
No, you're good. You're good. He asked a few things. He first asked, do you think Doug would benefit from asking players to create a character sheet of sorts for their characters as part of the whitelist, like personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and a backstory? I've noticed an issue where people sort of just become their faction rather than individuals. Not sure if that's a good question or not. What are your all's thoughts on that?
Oh, boy.
I'll let you
I'll
go
speak
first.
I'll speak on the staff's like thoughts on that. I think that if you want to do that on your own, like that's fine. If you want to create a character sheet, actually I'd probably encourage it to like do it for yourself. But we're not going to force anyone to do that. Like that's not what Doug is about. Doug is kind of about finding your character through playing,
Mhm.
and I think that would kind of like we're not gonna force you to
And
think of everything beforehand. You let the server determine.
And those
Where you
white-lived
go.
apps, I'm sorry, but having to tell all that, for some of
Yeah.
us, it's tedious over and over again. Can you please provide us this
All
whole
your
big
character
long?
information. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, that's not
Yeah.
what Doug is about, definitely.
And sometimes, you know, if you find the right faction, depending, especially if you're a new role player, your faction can influence how your character turns out. And that's totally a
For
thing
sure.
that happens all the time. But do think about your characters as an individual and their backstory and how they would react to the things that are happening. And you can absolutely leave one faction, go into another.
And we can also have another session on how to create characters and the different ways that some of us do that and create our
Yeah.
backstories. I think that would
There's
be a
a lot
really
of
good
ways to do
RP
that.
101 for the future. And
I
you can
th- I
always
th-
reach out to us as well.
Yeah, I think a key to a good character is have flaws, have many flaws.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
don't be
Mhm.
perfect. No one's perfect. You're not interesting if you're always the winner. Like it's just not fun. Have a flaw or multiple. Like our characters are all flawed. Like
Mhm.
just
Yes.
So flawed.
riddled with flaws.
Riddled.
Because it wouldn't be believable if everyone was perfect all the time.
Exactly. And yeah, this is not the last RP 101. I know that we all have lots of good ideas and lots of good topics to talk about. I think that we all plan to keep going with this and return to this.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
Yeah,
I-
suggestions for topics too. Feel free to,
yeah,
to throw 'em
I was
at
just
us.
about to say that I would love to hear from everybody watching, and I will have VODs up, but if you go to my YouTube, you can comment things on the VOD once it's uploaded. I would love if you guys did that. Give me some ideas that I can work with for the next thing.
Yes.
There will be VODs of the entire session for those of you who came in late, so you can
Mhm.
go back and look at what you missed. And we will be having future episodes of this with other
special
people that
guests, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to get Toronto in here. I think.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
I do.
yeah.
I
No, he's
I
not
really
allowed.
would like to get other guests in here and hear from them, because there are a lot of really interesting players and role players to talk to, and
Maybe
I would
Gary.
love to.
Will,
Yes.
Mm.
Will,
Yes,
Will would
I
be
would love to
fantastic.
hear how their brains tick.
yes. So for my part, I am going to. I guess if we're done, was there anything else? Anybody?
Love you all. Come play
Yeah,
with us.
Try the
Yeah.
server,
Yeah.
come play, read the rules, have fun.
Mhm.
Don't be a jerk.
Yes.
And thanks for being here and meeting all of us today. And feel free to ask questions outside if you need them to those of us who have said we'd be willing to answer. So
I did link everybody's Twitches. We have Andromeda Starry to my left. She plays the lovely Ember on the server. Then beneath her, we have Jackie Jackpot. I've also linked her Twitch. And then underneath me is Legit Pop, also known as Matt, and many other characters that I cannot name at this time. And they're all lovely people, and they do stream. I know Jackie streams quite a lot, so I would love if you guys go over to them, give them a follow, see what they're about. They're awesome people.
I'll be streaming tonight.
Likewise to everybody here. Back at you.
Legit Pop
Yeah.
will have a stream tonight, he says. So I appreciate everybody coming out. I'm gonna take off. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. And
Thank
we're having my
Kat.
technical difficulties right at the start of the stream.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you very much. You're awesome.
I hope everybody has a good night, and I'm gonna see folks tomorrow because I stream every Sunday. So I will see you tomorrow.
All right, and tonight I will be streaming. I'm going to go into a BRB for a minute and reset, and I will be going in game. So I'll see you in game.
Yes.
Mamie.
See you in game.
All right.
I typically don't stream, but I do record and I do put out content for DayZ. Maybe I'll stream sometimes, but it's very rare.
Maybe if you guys could, I know that you both, maybe all three of you have YouTube channels as well where you do upload videos sometimes. If you want to see them when they're not streaming, they do have YouTube channels. Are they all the same names?
Mine
I
is.
think
Everybody?
Andy
Mine
and I
is-
are trying to put a lot of our content on Wildflowers Productions right now. We have a
more
content server
professional
where
stuff,
we
yeah.
primarily have done Red Dead content, but we are starting to include some DayZ content in that now too, or
We're
wanting
going to.
to.
Yeah.
We are looking
Okay.
for always looking for voice actors, musicians, writers, scripters, video editors, music, you name it. If you want to be a part of it, feel free to hit us up. But that is primarily, I think, where we put where we're going to be putting most of our content. But I do have my VODs, so I usually just use those. And any YouTube content I've been trying to put on Wildflowers. So,
DayZ Underground on YouTube. Search that. You will find.
Yeah, there's
a
lots
lot
of stuff.
There-
There's a lot of
yes,
stuff
yes.
on there.
Yeah.
Check out the YouTube. I add community members' videos to that all the time to the community.
there's some good
pages.
lore there too.
There's
to
some
to
great
look
Really
at.
good lore stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some history of Doug stuff is fantastic on there.
Yep.
Like 10 years worth.
Yeah.
Over 10 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
love you guys.
Well,
I will be
I'm
right back,
taking off.
guys.
Love you.
And we'll
Love
hop into
everybody.
game. Love
You
Kat.
can see me on
Thank
Jackie's stream.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I could
Wait a
raid over
minute
to
there.
Jackie. I figured out how to do that recently. I'll send folks
Oh.
over.
Oh, did
on
you
Twitch
learn how
over
to
to
do that?
Jackie? I did. Oh my gosh, it was a whole thing. I was trying to raid Bonkertons and
I
I could
saw
not
it.
figure out how to do it. And he was like, I think Kat's trying to link the stream. And I think I'm like, no, please. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. Don't do it. It's
Yeah.
Jackie Jackpot. Let's see if that works.
Yeah, like I
There
said,
we
I
go.
will be given a few minutes here just to get things switched over and the game open. I don't know why my things are not working, so feel
I know.
free.
Mine's not working.
Yeah, I
either.
don't know why my links aren't working. Bye, Kat.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But yes, I will see you all in game. I'm going to throw up a stream starting screen. So thank you for the raid, Kat. Love you.
Of course. I love you.
Bye.
And I will see you next
Thank you for
time.
coming, Matt, Andy. Thank you. Love you guys, and we'll see you in game.
See you soon.
All right. I'm also going to go. I'm going to smack you over to Jackie if you weren't already there. And I will probably, you'll see me on her stream probably. But I typically do not stream DayZ. So, because I don't know. I'm weird. Maybe someday, but not today. All right. Love you all. Bye.
And a dead end in a field of stone. Support me when I strengthen me when